My job is to make sure that they have the resources and materials needed to be effective at what they need to do. And then get the hell out of the way for what, don't be a roadblock to what they do. These are smart people, okay? If, as a leader, if you're not hiring people categorically that are better than you at the functions that they do, then you're crazy.
What's going on, everybody? Ike here at the House of Greatness podcast. I'm here with Joseph Rojas, Mr. IMDFG. And actually, this is probably our coolest episode so far. We got a lot to talk about. We're only going to have 40 minutes to do this. But I got the new CEO of Pro Supps, Joe Oblas. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the House of Greatness.
Thank you. It's awesome.
In all these years, I don't think I've ever had you down here in Florida that I can remember. So pretty cool that you're here down in Miami at the House of Greatness. We got a lot to talk about. We've got a lot of history, so we'll try to, hit the tough spots. But you got something really cool going on at Pro Supps and some things coming in the pipeline, which is really cool to talk about. So I guess we'll start off with kind of your history, where you started.
Well, I've been doing this overall health and wellness now for 32 years. And
that's more than how old Joseph is, by the way.
Yeah, it's been a while, and it's kind of looking back to the last 10, 11 years. I know, obviously being pressed for time, the stories with Pro Supps and stuff are, amazing how it all kind of came about. Started with a lunch at Twin Peaks restaurant in Dallas with...
Shout out to Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Leave it at that.
With myself and TJ and his brother Derek, we were just sitting there one day saying, hey, let's try to figure out how to do something all together. And then he had mentioned that his, guy he knew had passed away, and there's an opportunity to potentially go try to get that brand. And then I still remember to this day when we'd just gotten it, we kind of got it situated, and I was, working on trying to see about bringing TJ over, and he's like, hey, what about, I got a guy, he's Bulldog, he's my head of sales, and he's like, hey, what about this Brian Icolina? You think we can bring Brian over too? And then Ike comes, and then shortly thereafter, a lot of other folks followed Ike, and it was just amazing because that jump started, everything we kind of started with.
Right.
I mean, hell, we didn't have a product to sell for 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously, Joe, being one of the founders of Pro Supps with the guys and TJ and everybody, we kind of started that, I'm going to say early 2012. I remember February 5th, 2012, actually, me, JP, Jason, and Ron jumped on a plane, flew to McKinney, and we all met up in Art Atwood's old warehouse.
Yeah.
We sat around that little wood table in there, and that's kind of where everything kind of came together. Coke came with, some looks of some cool packaging, right?
Yeah, sure
we
did.
formulated some products there. JP came up with the name Jekyll and Hyde during that time. We relabeled some product bottles with different names. I mean, that's kind of when it all started.
Yeah, there was some wild stuff before. I mean, there were a bunch of products that looked like who knew where they came from.
Yeah.
They all looked like from different companies, and we kind of came out of that first set of meetings with a kind of a plan to go, build a new brand, and within a very impressive team from the get-go. And our first products were carbohydrates.
You're right, yeah.
and
Carbolic.
Yeah, we started in March actually selling product in 2012, and Mr. Hyde wasn't born until July or August.
Yeah, you're right.
And kind of took off from there. It was just...
We had Carbolic, and we had these little things in a steel can. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Unique times.
Those things are amazing.
Those unique times. So
kind of like
Joseph took a few of those, and he put on 20 pounds in 3 days.
Yeah, like a little breath mint.
Once I came into Pro Supps, you guys turned me into a monster.
Those things were cool. But definitely, best times of my life, man, growing that thing. And, we had an equity transaction that happened in, I'm going to say 2015, 16?
2016.
16. Where did you go from there?
So I left Pro Supps in January of 2017, so a few months after the acquisition, and then founded the company Strive along with Ted Casey who had founded Diamatize Nutrition,
Love Ted.
and Gabe Karimi, who was a first-round draft pick of the Chicago Bears, who had played college football there at Wisconsin, and the three of us decided to start a high-protein meat snack company and capitalize on kind of what I had done as a team with the group with Pro Supps, and we started building Strive, and We took Strive from 0 to 40,000 retail doors
Wow.
for our products within 2 years.
Wow.
And Strive's a build tongues for whoever's watching, which I think made it really unique. I think that was kind of the marketing play there. For anybody from South Africa, that's where build tongue is derived from. I didn't know what it was until I went to South Africa years and years ago. But it was that great product. I mean, great product. Flavors were great. Texture was great. Couple revisions in packaging over the years.
Yep.
You know, I think the big one was probably the most recent one that Strive did, right?
Yeah, we launched a complete and total rebrand of the company right in the beginning of COVID. So it was a great
Perfect timing.
Yeah. And, you know, it's about timing. I mean, we took the company public in July of 2021. And the month we took the company public, meat prices doubled.
Yeah. Wow.
And you got a company that was going through, I mean, we used about 400 to 700,000 pounds of beef per month.
Wow.
And the price doubled. So every time the price would go up 10 cents, it would cost us as a company $2.5 million on an annual basis.
Wow.
And the price went from $2.15 a pound to $4.30.
Wow.
It cost almost $28 million in the first year just in the difference in meat prices.
Wow.
So it's interesting for everybody dealing with COVID. Remember when chicken, eggs, meat, everything kind of just went up. Milk, you know, everything was doubling. I mean, that's obviously everybody in the jerky game, call it, had to deal with, right? So everybody went up. Like, well, I don't personally remember exactly what happened in that sector, but I mean, you had to keep increasing pricing, kind of like what everybody did with protein over the last couple of years, I guess.
Yeah.
When whey went up.
Yeah, we kept increasing price so rapidly that, you know.
Did all the other brands, Jack Links, and everybody had to follow suit, right?
Yeah, so we had never been through that before, so we wanted to sit and let Jack Links move because they're the dominant player in the category, and they're like a 43 share of the entire market.
Oh, wow.
So we wanted Jack Links to move first and see what they would do. Now, in hindsight, it'd probably be better just to have moved on our own immediately.
They could have had 6 months of inventory pre-purchase or meat or whatnot, you know?
Yes, they didn't move right away, and then they started taking price pretty aggressively. So for instance, of our products, a 2-ounce bag on shelf in a convenience store had been pre-COVID selling for $5.99. I think now it's anywhere from $9.99 to $11.99 on shelf.
It is, yeah, it is.
Still.
Yes. And meat prices right now are actually back up to where they were in the height of COVID.
Oh, wow.
Wow, interesting.
It's
Yeah,
just,
I've seen that. I was trying to buy some snacks from Mace the other day with my son, and I did see that. I'm like, these little bags seem a lot more expensive than they used to.
it's
I feel like
incredible.
they used to be. It's crazy.
And it's not sustainable long term. I mean, that's to a point where when you got people going to a C-store and having to spend $80 on filling up their tank of gas, that they're not going to walk in and spend another $11 buying a bag of meat.
Right.
That's
where
where
people start cutting things out of their life.
That's where we know to get back to buying Doritos.
Yeah, right.
You can buy a bag of Doritos for $2.
Right.
Yeah.
So
after Strive,
after Strive, you know, I left the company in October of 2022.
okay, last year.
And really to kind of pursue what I felt was a little bit of unfinished business. And that was, you know, since the time we had sold Pro Supps to the private equity firm, just felt that the business just kind of seemed to have lost its way a little bit. And felt that I could reinvigorate a team and start bringing pieces back. And not that I'm touting my own horn, just the fact that I could facilitate letting the team get back onto offense.
Right.
And that's all I intended to do. So I worked with the private equity firm who was really great to deal with through the entire process. And in January, we took Pro Supps back.
Congrats.
And super excited. It was great. It was really kind of awkward that first day after having not been there for 6 years to walk back in the door. And
a lot of our people are still there, right?
Yeah, and they, frankly speaking, I had preconceived notions because you hear stuff for 6 years and you're thinking the only people still there are people that frankly couldn't leave.
Right.
And I kept hearing that and people would tell me that, and then so I got there kind of with that belief, and like the first couple of days was like I'm mind blown. I mean, there were people like taking like Priscilla Pernella, our director of marketing, when she was first hired for the company back in I believe 2013.
There's a backstory to that one, but we'll leave it there.
We're not going anywhere down that road, but it was, I mean, for me, I questioned whether she was qualified for the job.
Yeah, I think she started as social media, I think, for us.
Yeah, but it's in the marketing side, and just for the whole time, and
she's
then
worked her way up.
Yeah, all of a sudden I come back, and I'm going in with a preconceived notion that she's probably not a huge value player for the business, and frankly speaking, was just blown away.
Right.
Could not have been more wrong. I mean, that woman has just been killing it.
Yeah.
And frankly speaking, she just wants to have the opportunity to go and keep spreading her wings and be creative.
Think about her. She's eager to learn. If she doesn't know anything, she'll take time out of her day to research it, find out. She's passionate. She loves the brand. She works like, you know, she knows she doesn't know it all, but she'll find ways to get things done. And those are the best people you want in a business.
Yeah, and she's a great team player.
Right.
I mean, her team,
100%.
I mean, she has an entire marketing team under her, and they would take a bullet for her.
Right.
So she was tremendous, and that's kind of what I experienced coming back was how great these people were. They just weren't. They didn't have an opportunity for quite some time to actually go do the things that they knew would be very helpful for the brand.
Yeah.
And
I mean, sometimes you go to sports teams. Sometimes it's the coaching.
Right.
Maybe the coaching's not there. Maybe it's your quarterback.
Sure.
Maybe they lost a good quarterback, right?
Yeah.
And things evolve over time, directionally, vision-wise. The good thing about Pro Supps is, you know, we kind of created such a strong brand way early in the early days that it's able to kind of live on. But like you said, it's kind of like everybody there's been playing defense for the last 6 years. And I get there's, you know, financial things. There's a lot of things that come into play that people probably don't understand about running a, you know, $30, $40 million business or more, right?
Right.
But now someone coming in who not only founded it, built it, you've done other things in this space where it probably, you know, added some notches to your belt now where you can bring that experience back over and say, hey, the game is different. I mean, the specialty, the sports nutrition game today is a lot different than 2012, right?
Yeah.
You go to Walmart now, you kind of see what they got. GNC's adapted. Mom and pop retailers have had to adapt. Everything's kind of changed, and there's still a lot of businesses out there doing well. But I think it's just having the right leader. And
I think, honestly, to Pro Supps was, or the idea of Pro Supps itself evolving, I think there's a lot to be said that it was something very unique about the company from day one. I think that the group, the camaraderie between the group from the very beginning, from the early stages, that's something that's so rare to see. I feel like, you know, it was for me getting into this industry. I got into this industry with Pro Supps because of Ike when he hired me, and walking into this industry and getting to learn everything I learned about this industry at that specific time before it was what it is right now. To me, I feel privileged, and not only privileged to have experienced the industry in that format with that company as we were that company from that start, from the beginning. But I feel like even more importantly than that, the group of people that composed of that from the I had the opportunity to be under her wing for so many years. We started together.
Right.
She started out in social media. I was doing the designs that she needed,
That's
and we
right.
worked as a team. Like, we literally were there from the get-go. And but from everybody, that group became a family that to this day, those are our closest friends. Even when we were all working in different companies, we were still closer to each other than we were with some of the people that we were working with.
Right.
So the guys who stayed on the team, I feel like we all have that connection, right, to the passion that it was to build it, and the ones that stayed are still that family base that is still there, that is still wanting like one more shot for really to make this work. They understand it, they want to see it work, but like you said, they had their hands tied. And I've had the opportunities to speak with a few of them in the past few months, and you know, ever since you came on, and they're all so happy because they feel like they're now on the right path. You know, they feel that you understand them, they feel that you're able to lead them properly, and you're allowing them also to do what they need to do. So congratulations, man. It's really a beautiful story on its own for you to come back and 6 years after to be able to take over the whole business again.
yeah, you never know where life's going to bring you, for one, right?
Nope.
You never know. Don't burn bridges. But I think it's a great story. Obviously, a lot of work that needs to be done. So I'll let you kind of dive into what's moving forward for Pro Supps. Like, I know there's some other brands that have come in. There's some things coming within the pipeline where everybody, I think, get back excited about the brand.
Well, we really built out our team, and what Joseph said is spot on. I mean, that camaraderie is still there. So the challenge at first was, how do you integrate? So there's quite a few people that followed me from Strive.
Okay.
And how do you integrate them into
So the people
a
that
culture?
followed you over to this new company?
Right. It all
which
came
is-
over to Benefit
Benefit,
Brands,
okay,
which
so that's the-
right now are still primarily Pro Supps.
Gotcha.
But Benefits are umbrella. But bringing in these people that are coming in for day one and joining into a bunch of people where the average tenure is greater than
8 to
8
10
years.
right?
And they're going to be kind of oddballs right away. Now, our salespeople integrated in right away. I mean, they're really good, social type people.
I bet you Strive people have never seen someone that looks like Eddie before, though. They probably scared a few of them.
But they've been warned of Eddie over time, and I told them all before they came. Look, here's what you got to understand. You're going to look at some of these people, and you're going to think, okay, you're going to think one thing, but what you're going to find out is there's not nicer, more genuine people, regardless, and just get over appearances. Just because somebody has a goatee that's 2 feet long, half his height.
It hasn't washed in 2 years.
Right. I mean,
which, by the way, he cut it off, so he's good.
Yeah, but he's just such a great guy.
He's the best.
And so it was very easy for my people to come in and integrate on that front because their people are also awesome to work with. The marketing side was, okay, how do you take people like
a little bit different personalities.
Like Paige Brown was my director of marketing at Strive. She follows me over here as well. And then Pre's been here for 10 years. And now I was super excited to get Paige to come before I even got back. And I was like, okay, well, clearly there's going to be a huge, difference in ability and talent. And frankly, not true. Paige is a badass. Pre is a badass. They're both great. So how do you get two great marketing leaders to coexist on a team?
Right.
And it was probably a little bumpy for the first few, couple months, but they're starting to really build a strong relationship together, and we just kind of parceled out our brands. So, like, to answer your question, Ike, is we're looking at taking Hyde. Is really what made Pro Supps successful,
100%.
and keeping it as its own standalone brand.
Okay, so Hyde becomes its own brand.
Yeah, because we're not
with future innovation coming.
Absolutely,
awesome.
With new products, new formulas, and working to make the best products we possibly can, because that's what this company was founded on.
Right.
I mean,
and more specifically, Hyde. Right. I mean, Hyde was.
Yeah, Hyde is what made this company successful. So we're not or at least I'm not so egotistical where I think I'm going to be able to come in and that's part of the problem. I'm going to fix that. No, we kind of keeping that going, and the Hyde, family of products have been wildly successful and they continue to be.
Right.
We're making little tiny tweaks and improvements,
modernizing, whatever you want to call it. Right.
But other than that, leave it alone.
Yep.
Pro Supps, we really want to make it more approachable.
Okay.
Pro Supps has always really stood for best-in-class products.
Right.
So how do we now take these best-in-class products and spread them out to more of the masses to show people that, look, supplements aren't going to change your life. We're going to help your workout. We're going to add a little bit to you. Just don't overthink the fact of what is our level of importance in your day-to-day routine. I mean, it's diet, then it's physical activity. Supplements are a little piece where we can
supplement all the things you just mentioned.
And so we don't want to try to tell people that you take our product, your bench press is going to go up 1,800%.
Yeah. I've seen that ad before, though.
To quote somebody else
I've seen that ad before.
The person who lifted 100 pounds now can lift a car by taking their supplement. That's not what we're trying to portray.
Monohydrate.
Right. That's not what we're going to portray. So we want to kind of make Pro Supps a little bit more approachable and continue to round out the line. There are holes in the line that Pro Supps doesn't have today that we want to make sure that a consumer that is a brand loyalist and loves the brand can get all the different types of products they're looking for from Pro Supps. Okay, that's what we want to accomplish.
So innovation coming from Pro Supps and possibly a rebrand?
Yes.
Refresh, okay.
Yeah, there'll be a refresh first quarter of next year, and we're really excited to see there because it really hasn't had a real refresh in quite some time. But I think we're going to do that not just to change the packaging, not just to change the look, but we're going to round out the actual line, and continue to improve on the products. The Hyde products obviously are fantastic and are continue to grow. We are bringing a new website, make it a lot more informative. So you pull up the pre-workout page, like if you go back in time 6 months, you'd pull it up and you just stare at it and go, God, there's 20 different pre-workouts on here. What is the right one for me?
Right.
What's the difference? So we've added caffeine meters. We're kind of giving people a very simple. We don't want to overload people with stuff, but just give them a simple checklist they can kind of go through, and it'll designate which of the products are best for what their goals are.
Yep.
So make Hyde just more understandable.
Okay.
And then we just recently launched a bar about a month and a half ago, or a relaunch of
My Bar is back.
My Bar. And it's a wonderful product.
Who came up with that name? Anybody remember?
I don't even remember that one.
I don't remember who came up with that name.
But it's a 30-gram protein bar. in the classic, in-robe chocolate or peanut butter bars.
Right.
It tastes
Candy bar,
amazing.
yeah.
Yes. And,
Tastes great, absolutely.
Yeah, and
It always tasted great,
It always did, and it's a full meal replacement though.
Right.
So it's pushing 400 calories, but it's great.
You know,
You
a
don't
lot
have
of
to eat the whole
international
thing.
customers
Right.
like the higher level protein bars. So, a lot of brands here have moved to like 12 to 15 grams, which
Right.
internationally that's too low. They want something more. So there's not many 30-gram options out there anymore, is there?
No, there's really a couple of competitors in the
That's
market, and that's basically it. We just didn't feel that we wanted to go try to slug it out with all the guys sub 20 grams.
Right.
And we wanted something a little bit different and felt that this is an area we could play, and the bar tastes amazing. So
Is my bar going to be available through specialty mom and pop, any corporate stores, mass retail, C-store, FDM?
Yes, my bar launches with GNC on October 20th.
Okay, congrats.
Chain-wide, 3 flavors.
Okay.
And then I believe it's going into Gold's Gym here in the next few weeks.
Gold's Gym corporate, okay.
And then there's about 2,000 or 3,000 C stores picking it up in the month of October. So we'll continue to expand on that rapidly. But our goal is to get that bar out in as many
Everywhere.
points of distribution as possible because
Right.
it's a great bar. And it's one of those bars that once you try it, it's going to sell itself.
Got it. Right. So anybody looking for a 30-gram, delicious candy bar, hit up, JP, Eddie,
Yeah.
Fern, Mark, the guys over there.
Absolutely. And you won't go wrong now. Obviously, we have little challenges. We have to ship that bar refrigerated.
Got to keep it cool, yeah.
Right? Can't get to in the middle of summer.
It's a candy bar, yeah.
But your Snickers bar will do the same thing.
Right, 100%.
So, and then outside of my bar, we back in January acquired the snack brand Quavos, which is a high protein, kind of like a pita chip. So instead of using grains and flours, it uses cage-free egg whites.
Super. We actually had those a couple years ago. Me and Joseph had those. Taste really good. Concept's great, right? I think it's good, low calorie, low sugar, protein, and they ain't coming from egg whites. Like, what's better than that?
Yeah, and it's like we mentioned Strive before with
But then you got egg prices that went up. I wonder what happened there.
Yeah, so when I mentioned Strive with meat prices doubling, I think I have a knack
So you got
for
meat
timing.
and eggs.
When I put the company under contract to acquire, egg whites were $4.50 a pound. When I closed the acquisition, they were $17.50 a pound.
Wow.
Now, the difference is at Strive, meat prices are 94% of your cost of goods.
Okay.
At Quavos, they're
Small.
7%.
Oh, wow.
Right.
So, yes, it sucks, but it's not the end of the world.
not
And the good
right.
thing is egg prices have come down significantly.
Yeah.
So, they're coming down where meat prices have not come down.
Right.
So Quavos was on Shark Tank, was successful
Oh, I
there,
didn't know
got a
that.
deal
Wow.
with Daniel Lebetsky from Kind Bar,
wow.
who then invested in them again after the fact. I had tried the product over the years. I think they've been out about 3 years. I tried the product at a couple trade shows
I
and
think
really
we got it at
liked
Vitamin Shop. Is it in Vitamin Shop?
It was in Vitamin Shop
Okay,
as well,
yeah.
which is kind of an odd place that they were selling it at.
Vitamin Shop has a great functional food section.
Yeah.
Vitamin Shop has actually made themselves the premier energy drink and
Mm-hmm.
functional food retailer in America. They always have the latest, greatest, coolest protein-infused snacks and drinks now.
They
So
definitely do
I
a
would-
great
yeah.
job of bringing in innovation for sure.
They do, yeah.
And but it didn't have much of a presence in the convenience channel or so on. They were in Sprouts, they were in Whole Foods, Wegmans, and
How many flavors?
I think we have 6 flavors, 2 sizes currently.
Okay.
And they're really great. And they're a dippable, like pita chips, so you can dip it in hummus or dip it in something else.
Nice.
They also, taste great, just eat on a standalone and kind of like very similar to a shape or consistency of a wheat thin.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so we're super excited about that.
And
We're-
retailers that want to order that, can they contact their normal sales rep to order, or what's the process there?
Yeah, so same sales team.
Okay.
So we can go on any channel, and products carried in Europa, products carried
Okay, so
in.
you got distribution, Muscle Foods.
I think it's in Muscle Foods,
Okay.
and then it's in your broader, UNFI and KeHE
Okay.
and Cormark and McLean.
Any
and so
innovation
on.
coming under Quavos?
We are going to have a bag and box coming out soon so that allows it to go play in the cracker aisle as well.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
So it'll look kind of like your box you'd see at Cheez-Its or Wheat Thins or so
Yeah,
on.
it's a good place to be.
And then outside of that, we're going to continue focusing. We have some new flavors in development that we've been working on, but we've got a lot of work to do. It's a very young brand.
Yeah.
And
Rebranding right now, I think.
rebranding
Yeah.
as well, which should come out right around the first of the year. So
The more we talk, the more I think Pre might be giving her 2-week notice with all of the rebranding going on.
yeah,
Just kidding.
And then it gets a whole pile worse because
Then you got something else?
Yeah, one of the big things that we were doing, and really why I was so excited to come back and do this, and I actually wanted to do this at Strive, I just couldn't get the support of our overall team to do it, is we wanted to launch a nutrition brand, and I'm using the term nutrition lightly because I didn't want to call it a sports nutrition brand that doesn't appear to look like one,
Right.
but I also don't want to not do it justice by calling it just purely a lifestyle brand.
Yeah.
Because what we really envisioned was we felt there was an opportunity to bring the sports nutrition products, the full strength ones, to the broader marketplace. And we felt one way to do that was to create it in more of a lifestyle type function where you got a fully loaded pre-workout, but it doesn't have that kind of intensity of packaging, and,
Right.
and we're not trying to to scare people. Just say, hey, this is a really
Pre-workout.
good,
I mean,
tasty
yeah.
product.
Good ingredients, tastes great.
Yeah. And if
Anything you're doing with like flavors or sweeteners, any changes there?
Yeah, now, we didn't start out with this intention, but that's where we kind of ended up, is that we saw an opportunity also to, make it a little unique. So first and foremost, it's going to start all direct to consumer. So it's instead of
Okay.
being in
So
tubs,
direct to
it's going to be in bags, which
Okay.
cuts down on waste going into our landfills, gives a little bit more space for the design team to put a little more bells and whistles on the packaging.
Yep.
But the big pillars we've kind of taken away from there is we're not using any artificial colors,
Okay.
no
No
artificial
dyes, no
sweeteners,
colors.
and no artificial flavors.
Okay. So natural
So-
across the board.
Completely natural across the board, which with all the advancements in natural sweetening is now doable, where a few years back this was just a pipe dream. And now we can do it, and I've sampled so many of the products that we're bringing to market, and they're amazing.
Yeah.
But we're starting out with pre-workouts, 3 flavors.
Okay.
Really everything is 3 flavors. Pre-workout, hydration, protein, greens, and BCAAs.
Okay.
So we're kind of have a pretty well-rounded line.
Yep.
And shocking, the product that's been most difficult to flavor properly wasn't the pre-workout, which I thought was going to be.
Probably the protein.
It's the BCAAs.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
They were the biggest
BCAAs
challenge.
are really tough natural.
Mask it out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's tough, but I think our team's done a really good job.
Little trick there. Lots of monk fruit kind of helps.
lots of monk fruit. I mean,
Which is
we're
not
tearing
cheap.
down the forest.
Which is not cheap.
No, the price tag on our formulas are pretty intense. About 40% higher than
Okay.
what we're used to paying for a lot of the Mr. Hyde type products.
But the game has changed a lot. There's a lot of other brands today that are selling higher, if you will, than
Right.
maybe traditional legacy brands. So I think you're on there. People, if they like the product, they believe in it, it tastes great and it works, they're willing to pay.
Yeah, so we're pumped.
Do we have a name for this
launch.
brand, or we can't share that yet?
We do. The brand is going to be called Groove.
Oh, nice.
So
Groove.
It's kind of about how about finding your groove,
Finding your
and
groove.
everybody has kind of their own groove. I mean,
Okay.
it could be walking your kids in a park. It could be playing soccer on a weekend. Could be hitting the gym 5 days a week, or climbing a mountain.
Or it could be JP at Live on the weekend.
Right.
That's his groove.
He's got to get his dance on.
JP Pro Supps.
So no, I mean it's just we're trying to make it just a very inclusive to the broadest audience.
No,
possible.
honestly, I love the name. What do you think?
I love the name.
I mean,
I love the name.
One of the hardest things today to do is to create a company to actually come up with a name that you can own, trademark, find a domain, get a social handle, and then go
Oh.
across the board. So, and actually mean something that you could put some meaning behind it. So,
We've had to whittle down some of the names. Our final 4 would probably cause quite a bit of laughter. I'll just throw one of them out there, which actually was the leader in the clubhouse for a very short period of time.
what's that?
What was it?
Goose.
Goose. Goose.
I'm glad you went with Groove.
Goose was on there until we started realizing all of the sexual connotations that can go along with goose. So in case anybody ever has a time, look at your Urban Dictionary.
Or just ask Eddie.
or
Either
JP. He was
Yeah,
awesome.
so Goose was
Goose.
one that didn't make
Goose
it.
Supps.
There were some others that were just like, oh my.
No, I love Groove, man. I think you guys did well there. I can visualize kind of probably where you guys are going to go directionally with the packaging. So, is there a projected launch date for this?
Projected launch date is January 15th.
Oh, it's right around the
So
corner.
right around
Yeah.
the corner. The formulas and products are, for the most part, all done.
Okay.
The packaging, we're right now in some of the we have an illustrator illustrating and preparing. There's, I guess, a photo shoot coming up here in the next week or so for the initial website.
Nice.
But we're kind of getting down there. They're picking bag vendors now for the packaging, and we're expecting to roll this out and start having some, more samples to give out to potential people to try them for influencing and so on here shortly. So and it's exciting. I've not tried products like this. They're
Wow.
completely different as far as taste and feel.
I want to ask you, what do you think are your strengths or some of your biggest values as a CEO, as a leader, as a visionary? What do you think is where your biggest strengths are at in building these businesses?
Well, I think mine is I don't have a pride of authorship, okay? It's not about me. And I tell all these people, and I've told them from the first day I come back and I came back to the office, is I kind of believe in an upside down org chart. Okay, it's my job to facilitate and support those who would traditionally report to a CEO. My job is to report to them. My job is to make sure that they have the resources and materials needed to be effective at what they need to do. And then get the hell out of the way for what, don't be a roadblock to what they do. These are smart people, okay? If, as a leader, if you're not hiring people categorically that are better than you at the functions that they do,
Hiring the wrong people.
then you're crazy.
Yeah.
But if you also think that they're better than you at those particular areas, are you going to weigh in and try to tell them what they should be doing? Let them do what they need to do, and then really focus that we become more important. Our importance level increases all the way we get to the touch point with the consumer. And that final piece, that tip of the spear, the person who's going to interface with a customer, interface with a consumer or a retailer or what have you, those people, they're the lifeblood of your brand. And if they're not, and it's all not clicking on one type of nice flow of a structure where they all feel there's trust, then you're not going to succeed.
Right.
So for me, it was, I don't have that ego where I want to go out and have to be that. I don't personally like to be a front-facing person in a brand. I like to focus on creative, vision, strategy, making sure we have the right resources, raising capital, doing all the things that we need to do to be successful. Being that front-facing person, I don't create a tremendous amount of value.
Right.
So the only value I create is help the people that actually do create the value in our business.
Right.
Yeah.
They'll help our sales team, help our marketing team, and help our supply chain and accounting and finance teams and so on, and just be a supporter. That's all I want to do.
Great perspective. I think a lot of people can learn from that perspective. We're also in an industry where, especially today, everybody wants to be the face of this and the face of that, but we can all probably think of multi-billion-dollar brands today where probably some of us have no idea who the CEO is.
Yeah.
And those are the most successful companies or entrepreneurs of our life ever, right? And it's because they hire people to do their job and they let them do their job, right? They might, reposition them, put them back on the right track here and there, making sure they have the resources to do their job. I know this because, a lot of people, my friends, you've got, in my opinion, one of the best teams in the game over there. So, couldn't do nothing better. Like Joseph said earlier, the morale and just everything over there right now is super positive. So, a lot of good chit chat from customers, retailers, distributors. They're excited. They want to see what's coming from Pro Supps. I'm still a fan. I want to see this thing, kind of, I don't want to say turn around, but get back on track and doing what we did back in the day. So we'll be here applauding you guys.
Ike wanted me to have T-shirts, Pro Supps merchandise made for today. That's how big of a fan he is. But
So I need to hire another designer.
but we love-
if anybody needs a job, let me know because Rojas can't get it done.
contact at houseofgreatness.com.
It's a small world we all live in right now, and the fact is, like, what you guys are doing here is awesome, and I'm seeing the label work that's being done. It's tremendous. I'm seeing all the design stuff and so on, and I just saw some drawings that Joseph just made are just mind blowing. That level of talent is
Thank you.
It's different, yeah.
way beyond what I have.
Right.
So no, having the ability to do this with these people, I told them from the beginning, and I think JP's all just walked in here. You can back up the same statement. I told them all. I said, as much about seeing this be a financial success long term for me and the team or whatever, that's one thing. But I see far greater value, and I'm dead serious, that seeing the business win in spite of the fact of all the challenge they had to go through, whether it's COVID, whether it was an owner that continuously put, a bunch of different operating partners in the business that may not align culturally with the team, seeing those folks in that office have a chance to go win and take this thing to the next level on their terms.
Yeah. Not everybody
way
gets it. Not
more
everybody gets that
impactful.
opportunity. So yeah.
I mean, and if they do a great job, which I know they will, the financial side's going to take care of itself. I don't need any of that stuff. I need to see. I want to see Pri put that win because she deserves that. I want to see Allison and all the people on that team just get what they've been fighting for a long time.
100%.
Right. What would you say have been some of your biggest challenges, not only in Pro Subs in the past few months that you've been there, but overall in your career growing businesses?
Well, it's, you know, a lot of it's external conditions. There's certain things you have no control over. And it just seems that whenever you kind of feel like you got everything going in the right direction, then if something external happens, whether it's 9/11 or the housing crisis or COVID, and, you know, even at Strive, COVID did really almost nothing to us. It was the pressures on the commodity prices and stuff that were so horrific. Now we're at Pro Supps. We're trying to bring in a little extra capital to build up our inventories. It's the worst market that I've ever experienced trying to raise
People
capital.
are tight.
I mean, I'm getting the door slammed in my face right and left. And, you know, we're a profitable business. We know what we're doing. We're doing things the right way with great people and so on, and in an industry that's got, you know, pretty respectable margins, and the industry is in a lot of demand. You would think that's a very investable, you know, structure, but it's hard. I mean, we'll get it done, but it's not like it was 3 or 4 years ago where you'd get it done in 2 or 3 days.
Right.
Yeah.
And because it becomes a distraction, it takes you away from the business. So for me, I would say the biggest challenge is it constantly, every single time you think you're on the path, something comes and causes, you know, a big challenge. Hell, we dealt with it in 2015 when the government questioned the, you know, legitimacy of a singular ingredient that hadn't ever had a documented adverse reaction.
Never.
But because of previous fights of other ingredients that had nothing to do with our company, all of our retailers sent all those products back to us at one time. Could have killed us.
Almost did.
Yeah, and frankly speaking, if it wasn't for our bank stepping in and doing what we thought was impossible, the huge credit line to get us through that, it would have killed us.
Yep.
So those kind of things, it's very hard to plan for the unexpected because you just don't know where it's coming from.
Right. And I think that's some of the qualities of a leader and the qualities of what it takes to be a CEO, dealing with those kind of problems, because I think the trajectory or the path of entrepreneurship has those ups and downs, has those unknown experiences that happen. And even though you may have the right team in their own specialties, but sometimes piecing all of that together and knowing what kind of moves you have to make or when you have to pivot, I think it's some of the most important parts of a CEO.
Yeah, I think it's a period of de-risking now as well, trying to take as much risk off, making sure we have a little extra capital. If we wanted to go out and raise $1, we might as well go get 2.
Right.
If we want to make sure that we're not, you know, de-lever, get as much debt off the business as possible, do the things that we can that just to take that risk out of the equation. Because look, it's a fun business when it's going well.
Right.
Okay, everyone enjoys the good times.
Yep.
And the more you can insulate and build some reserves, then in bad times, you know, you can manage through without such difficulty. Because that's what hurts a lot of entrepreneurs is that at bad times, you know, they may own a certain percentage of their company going into a bad time, and when they come out of that bad time, they own far less of that company.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that we can be defensive.
I think
for
that's
ourselves.
life in general. You know, prepare and put some stuff away. You know, for something that happens. Maybe your car breaks down one day. Who knows, right? Hey, I love it. I love what you're doing over there, bro. Excited for you guys. Excited for everybody. We're gonna be here, you know, applauding you guys on the sidelines.
Waiting for you to give me the call so I can illustrate for you.
Rosa Rojas wants to do a
Gotta
little
make that
rebrand,
call right
so-
away. You gotta make that
No,
call.
it's just like Ike was saying. I think in general, it's exciting to watch all of this. It's exciting to see some of the team back together as well. There is a lot of I think emotional attachment to that brand. Even to ourselves personally, that we're not in it, but even as we started this business together, House of Greatness, being able to have the opportunity to work with you guys. We have been working with you guys through the whole process of My Bar, shooting the content. We were wanting to do a lot more, but just in general, the opportunity to be able to work with you guys, to work with the brand again, it's exciting, right? It's exciting because you have to you reminisce on those moments that we had, and to be able to be a part of it again and still continue on this journey together, it's very special to us. So all in all, it's even an honor. It's a pleasure to have you here. It's amazing to see what you guys are doing. I'm excited to see the team continuing to win. I'm excited to. I'm happy to know you a little bit deeper than what I knew you before. You know, when I was there, it was very distant. I didn't really get to know you on that level. And to see your character, to see how you are, and the things that you're telling me is things that align with what the team has already said of you, from Eddie, from JP, from Mark, from everybody. Like they've all felt the same way towards you. So to see it at that level, to see the plan and the vision that you have to execute it accordingly, I'm excited to see the growth. I'm excited to see you guys win. And we're here at your side, so.
Say, hey, we'll do another one of these in 6 months and, you know, talk about a bunch of W's that everybody put up. So keep cranking, buddy. Excited for you. In closing, man, we appreciate you being here at the House of Greatness. For everybody, you know, click the link below, subscribe to YouTube. You can catch more podcasts coming. We out. See ya.
Thank you.